Keyton and Crawford here on the Crawford Podcasting Network, corner of Hagedorn and Grand River, rather. And it's hard to get to. We're talking about the Grand Traverse Pike coming, but you can get to it from East Grand River.
Oh, yeah.
Hagedorn has kind of got some.
Yeah, they're doing some work.
Some work here, and you got to go behind some.
They're fixing the darn roads.
Nothing stops me. Yeah, but they're fixing them, and that's all that matters. Okay. So we haven't been here since 4th of July. The last 2 Sundays we were off on vacation. We thought we needed, take a little breather. But I tell you what, big fella, I missed you. I really
Truly.
I didn't realize how much I enjoyed being with you until you were gone.
Truly, the conversation is good.
Yes. And I was up north enjoying that with my family, but good to be back. We're sitting here July 14th. And by the way, so I'm one of those go shopping in your own closet kind of guys. So I pulled this sucker.
I see it.
This is Jack Emmett and I, when we first had our show, the sports page with Jack and Tom. This is back in March of 2002. So this shirt is 22 years old.
And the fact that it fits so good, that is the best part.
Yeah.
Fitting loosely.
Loosely. Now I'm not as solid as I was 22 years ago. I'll say that. I'll go on record saying that. But
you didn't have to go in and find the next size up.
That's true. So I feel good about that.
That's a great thing.
I'll iron it maybe next time, but
that's
hey,
okay. That's
all right. We're here, and once again, as I indicated, it's July 14th. So when we get into mid-July and beyond, in my world, I'm in the zone. I'm in a vacuum. It's football.
Under 50 days now.
It's getting close. But for you, going into his 33rd year of coaching high school football, what are you, 2 weeks out? When do your kids report?
I think August 5th.
August 5th? You should know that date.
But yes and no.
Okay.
Because then it becomes.
No, it is the 5th. That's a Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your first game is the 23rd? On Friday night?
No, Thursday.
Oh, Thursday night. I think that's the 22nd.
Okay. Michigan State's on 23rd.
No, Michigan State is on the 30th. So your high school starts 1 week before.
1 week before, yes.
And you play Labor Day weekend on that Thursday before.
Correct.
We got that. Okay. You'll be in game number 2. Oh, by the way, you're going to introduce some Hall of Fame people I saw. My friend Dave Radlett was quarterback on that 73 team, East Lansing High. It went 9-0. Is going to be part of the inductions of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I saw that. So I knew a lot of dudes on that team. Great dudes. Successful dudes on and off the field. Anyway, so what's your message, Coach Keyton, to all those high school football candidates out there getting ready? They're obviously doing, if they're going to be relevant, they're already part of the program. They're working out this summer. They're doing the 7-on-7s. But where do they need to be mid-July, a couple weeks out, physically, mentally, spiritually, preparation?
Well, at this point, I'm not going to say that what they say, the hay is in the barn, the proverbial barn. At this point,
if you're going to start working on it right now, it's too late.
You're in trouble. you're going to be.
You're going to go through misery
because there is no everybody. We can get ready for 2. Don't get ready for 2 a days. No, but there's the only preparation for 2 a days is to do 2 a days.
When you're 2 a days, it's not like you go home and then you come back. You're
not us.
You keep them there.
Yeah, like when we were at Everett, because and I learned that at Eastern as the head coach. We had what I call at Eastern, and then even at EB a little bit, we had what we call income kids that were working to help provide income for their families and for themselves or whatever. So it's like the old way of 8 to 10 in the morning and then come back from 3 to 5. That doesn't work.
It's funny you say that. I remember when you were coaching Eastern, Evelyn and I had you on our show, I think, on a radio show. You probably don't remember.
Probably don't.
Yeah, you're Mr. Media. Getting calls from all media.
Right.
And you said, I came and stopped to see you over at the old school, and you go, I go, so I'm thinking old ways. You know, you go home. I said, so you have practice and you send them home and they come back. And you looked at me like, send them home? If I send them home, I'm not going to get them back.
I'm not get them back.
You're not going to see them.
No.
You're not going to see them for the second day.
No, they'll go home and get comfortable in the AC.
You will never see them that day. They'll come back again next morning, but they're not going to be back again.
Right.
So your whole theory was keep them there.
Keep them there, and then, you know, provide, you know, tell them to bring their lunches, or we will provide a eat, like we will get
them off their feet.
Peanut butter jelly, yeah, get them in the cool area, whatever, and, you know, hydrate, and then, but our goal is to have them out of there by 12 to 1 o'clock.
As opposed to having that linger where this whole thing is all encompassing.
And then, you know, because if they have to go to work, if you got from 1 to whatever, to go do your job and do whatever, and then come home and get some rest and do whatever you got, to be back here on the field by 8 o'clock in the morning. I remember
Farako telling me, and I think he also got some input from Michigan State, as far as the amount of time it takes for a young man for his body to recover.
Coach is big on that.
Big on that, and you know, using medical profession to communicate that, where you can get them off their feet, get them hydrated, fed, whatever. Do some film, whatever, break down the film with you prep. I don't know how you do it.
I mean, he really tries.
And then maybe not as hard in the second session.
He really tries to get, you know, as close to, you know, 15, you know, whatever the hours we can figure it out. Because he's big on that, to get them here and then gone until we see them again. Because we really are going. I mean, and that's the thing, is what Jaleel had posted, somebody else had posted, like, you know, it's really hard for these college kids to, you know, they can't, to be able to stay focused in today's world. And then they printed off a daily plan of, like, when they go to college. And I'm like, them guys don't realize how good they got it, because they only have one practice.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff is filler time with weightlifting, or, which is still work, don't get me wrong, but walkthroughs and this, that way. Now you throw that second 3 to 5 hour, 2 hour practice from 3 to 5 in the afternoon, when you can't breathe, that changes your whole perspective on
not only that, I mean, their focus is off. They're not going to be listening. They're not going to be as alert.
Right.
And the other thing is, it's interesting how, you know, like you jumped into college for a second here. You have to manage, you know, within the rules of so many hours of on the practice field and meeting space. Okay. So and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. What Harbaugh did was to merge the two elements together.
Sure.
And so yeah, they're on the practice field. They'll run a couple plays and then they'll break it down. And maybe even get the kids off their feet, you know. And look at the big screens, or, you know, they get a blow, if you will. So they're just not boom, 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 boom. So there's a lot of strategy in managing practice.
Right, and that's like even like at Michigan State, like they'll have actual halftime at practice.
Yeah.
Where they have snacks, the snacks that are for them, you know, whether it be a yogurt or.
Did you have snacks at halftime?
No, George wasn't believing in none of that.
Oh yeah. just work or keep your mouth shut. Good thing will happen.
Get some water, get your ass back out there and let's play. Nobody thinking about no orange slices or none of that.
Orange slices.
Come on, man. Because the first time I went to a practice, and they bringing all this stuff out. Like, I'm like, what is all that?
Well, I know. I mean, I heard that in the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl halftime is so long.
Oh,
they basically feed them.
Yeah. That's like half hour.
Yeah.
Half hour, 45 minutes.
So Burleson.
Man, please. We still eat steak and potatoes every day. With a dietitian around there. I mean, the only one cat that used to, James Bradley was like, you know, if he was bacon or.
Is he a DB?
No, wide receiver.
Wide receiver, yeah.
He didn't eat meat enough, so we ended up having to sit there
and wait. Guy.
Yeah, waiting for his fish to get ready. I'm like, come on, man. You're holding up the train.
Come on, man.
We're trying to eat. Like, come on, let's get it popping. But yeah, no, and especially like 2 days, like, especially like for high school now, you know, you talk about the load management, that kind of thing, like, you know, and I talked to Coach about it too, like, Coach, you got to be careful because, you know, we only got like 35, 40 kids. Say we got 40 kids. Of them 40 kids, you
Is
got
that
what?
what you have this year?
We'll be
You know
right
for
around
sure
there.
it's going to have 35 or 40
Yeah, we'll be around there.
on varsity. That's manageable.
Well, that's the thing, but I was going to say you got 40. So how many players you got? How many players you got? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, you're being Mr. Candid
So
here.
now you gotta manage and make sure, because you can't be wearing the kids out to the point where, you know, because you got some kids going both ways.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing, and you gotta be careful. Like, everybody wants to grind, but
Right.
like, hey man, you know, first of all, this ain't the 80s, the 90s where kids are a little bit different.
You're saying it's soft?
I don't know about it. Yeah,
Just say it. I mean, generally speaking,
some
are kids softer?
Some are.
Okay, 33 years of
Some are.
coaching. Give me a gauge of toughness of the early 90s when you were coaching versus now.
Oh,
Just do a broad brush. I love
we-
it. I love generalization.
We would have destroyed these kids. We'd have destroyed them.
You would have destroyed those kids?
No, the ones playing now, we'd kill these kids.
In what way? Just
We just beat them
physicality.
up. Because the mindset of you know, you got to think about too. In the 80s and 90s, you know, a lot of us didn't have a lot of things. So that might have been the only way to get out of certain environments, which is still the case.
Well, there's
in some
kids that don't
places.
have a lot of things right now.
Absolutely. So, but they don't necessarily have the work ethic that it takes, because even like we used to talk about this at Everett a lot. Even the kids that don't have much got stuff. You know, there's ones that we knew that, you know, okay, well, we know that kid is going to struggle, so all right, I'll take care of him. I'll take care of him. Coach, take care of, you know, whatever. We'll make sure they get.
Well, what'd you do
have
to
their-
take care of them?
You know, if we're getting the sweatsuits or whatever, we figure out
Is
ways
that
to make sure
illegal or
they get.
not?
Hey, man, I don't care about.
I'm not saying if you care or not, but I'm just asking you, was that within the rules in the high school as well? Or no?
Well, when my kids needed stuff that I work with, my linemen, they needed, I bring them to my house and made them do work to earn money.
Okay.
Then they earn. That's how I did it.
Okay.
You know, hey, you come work for it, I take care of you.
Okay.
And we're good. You know, you don't have, because we need to make sure. We're not ever going to allow a kid, like if we're getting sweatsuits for the team, we're not going to let a kid not have one. So what can we do to help him get what he needs if he doesn't have the monetary funds to get it? Well, we'll figure it out. Or we have
Just
to
like
get
when
it.
pay to play came in to play, there was scholarships,
Absolutely.
you know, for those.
You know, and then they figured it out, like, okay, if this kid's on free and reduced lunch, hello, can't expect them to pay $150 to play sport. They can't afford to eat.
$250.
Like, come on, right? Exactly. Like, come on, let's use some common sense here.
Sure.
So, but yeah, that was always, you know, always wanted to make sure the kids were whole across the board. Everybody had. Now, obviously, some kids gonna have more because they have more. All right, but status quo, one line here at 50. We'll make sure everybody had the 50 at least. From there up, whatever.
Okay, so in this broad brush thing that was going after, you know, so generally speaking, you said the kids were way tougher than this year.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Are there exceptions, and what percentage of the exceptions, like on this East Lansing team, or maybe you don't want to pinpoint that, or just generally speaking, percentage of tough kids now in
Well,
football?
you see the kids. I mean, you'll see them, and you'll know who, like, okay, who can you, when you turn around, you say you're in a street fight, who's gonna be standing there with you? We got some over there.
What do you base that on?
How they practice, how they play the game, how they react with their friends in certain other situations that have happened, you know, in a proximity in school, good, bad, or otherwise. Like, okay, you know, you can count on that guy. He gonna be there for you. And you know, like at Michigan State, like, you know, Alan Pinkett got in trouble. Alan Pinkett got in trouble for this years ago, but he said you gotta have some criminals on your team if you want to be.
The Notre Dame running back who made that mistake, Alan Pinkett,
as an announcer,
who's a former color analyst for
like,
Notre Dame.
You know, and you think about it, like, I think about our great teams at Michigan State, like, yeah, we had some guys that were borderline.
No, it's the wrong way to phrase that. You could just say, you know, that we're brought up in tough living environments, that were quote unquote survivors of that.
I mean, we had some criminals on our team, man, flat out. We had some cats that were different.
In what way? I mean,
just like
stealing stuff?
Well, if you go, okay, prime example is this. you go back to with like the U, Miami, right? If you ever watched that, you watched that, right? And
I've watched it probably 4 or 5 times.
Oh, every time. It doesn't matter what.
It doesn't matter what station it in when it comes on. I'll watch it to the end.
Absolutely. One and the second one.
Yeah.
But the first one
was good.
We played against those guys. We played against them at Spartan Stadium.
Oh, I remember that.
Carlos Huerta kicked a bunch of field goals. HB had a pick 6.
Well, I was saying the Florida State game. Florida State mauled you at home.
And on the road.
Oh, yeah. When Dion and Andre Rison was my
we played
for 3 hours. But what did Miami do to you here?
No, we only lost like, what, 20.
Was that in 80? That was in 87. It wasn't a road. No, because that's the tough team.
9.
Oh, 9. Yeah. Okay.
So just like the U, like that was the full.
Oh,
if you watch the thing, like no, they had real guys that would go out and because they didn't have anything. That's the way they were used because they were from the Broward counties and that kind of thing, right? Now, I'm not saying
Miami-Dade and Broward County.
I'm not saying we had guys that was going out robbing people in Michigan. That's not. I don't know anything about that. But I know we, like you said, guys from real bad, situations and whatnot. That
sports was a good outlet for them.
That was their way out to get to college, and then from there to maybe have an opportunity to go play in the NFL. So,
because if they did not go that route, my friend Richard Ralford, Riviera Beach Sports, says if you did not go to sports, you went the other path.
No question.
And there was like this defining line: athletes, criminals.
Right, and
no middle ground.
And the best part about most of those communities, where if the people knew that you had a shot, you leave him alone. You let him be the athlete, and you don't bother him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But when you get to college, these guys are really, they're hungry and they're fighting for an opportunity for a better life for themselves and their families. So you put that into the equation of just playing football, that's a whole different animal. So, as myself coming from a family, mom and dad, like we were rich or nothing, but I always had what I needed, didn't always get what I wanted. I was hungry, but those guys at Michigan State, they were way more hungry than I was.
Yeah.
And were willing to put in, I have to do this. And so you see it a lot now, even on social media. So those kids that are putting that work in. Oh, like if you're doing, like I try to tell them, me and my daughter, like if you're doing just what the coach tells you to do, then you'll be just what everybody else is. What are you doing above and beyond? And I'm not saying going to the special
camps and paying a lot of money,
right? Because you could do push-ups and sit-ups in the backyard. Or like Ethan DeWitt was one of my best kids. He had his own dummy bag, and he worked on his footwork and his blocking in his backyard all the time. That kind of stuff. I knew I could count on Ethan DeWitt every single day of practice, every single day, to give me 100%.
So do the things that take no talent and take no monetary effort.
Exactly.
I mean, the stuff that you can just do on your own.
We talked about this before, and I told the baseball guy, invest in the free stuff.
Yeah, that's a great way to phrase it.
Invest in the free stuff.
Yeah.
Because somebody had posted one time, like, everybody play basketball outside anymore? Like, no. They need the air-conditioned gyms to go play in because
they don't want chance, but they don't want to play on concrete or asphalt.
Exactly.
I went to basketball camps that were outdoors. You played in the rain.
Regardless.
At, Mystic Lake, Corey Lake, all these places.
Yeah. All those places.
Yeah.
Because that's what the expectation was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe us older people are getting softer. Because that's what makes it hard. That's what makes it hard, because you want to demand, but I'm not going to fight. If you don't want to be great, like we always say, I can't want it more than you want it. If you don't want it, because this is what it
Jason?
takes.
Right.
Because we talk about it, even like with Jace, like you're good here. Maybe
Jace Clarizzi always talking
maybe
about.
Great here. But when you get to college, they're all great.
Yeah.
And then,
stand up from East Lansing is going to be a spark next year.
So you know, Ethan Boyd had a conflict with him, and any other kids go to college. When you get to those colleges, Evan Boyd at Central, all those guys are going to be more than likely the best guys from the school that they came from.
Right.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
You're running the mill. You're just like everybody else.
Right. You got to separate yourself, and that comes with work ethic. Get in there, make sure the grades right. You know.
Evan Boyd, by the way, is doing very well at Central. I expect him to see some playing time for the Chippewas. Okay. Last question to you. I want to go back to the high school element, back to the parent level. Okay. 3 weeks. 3 weeks to camp opens. Okay. What's the message parents should tell their kids moving forward, creeping closer? What are the things? What's good parenting for kids, preparing your kid for football or any other fall sport?
Right. Well, I know with mine. Well, first of all, I still don't understand how, and they're not taking the days off. Well, the good ones are. The mandated 9 days off for the July 4th weekend.
Well, you got that, and then don't you have 1 week before camp opens after 7-on-7?
Which is kind of
is that a statewide thing?
Yeah, it's a de facto thing, but you just can't use. I think you just can't use equipment. You can still do. You can still weight train. You can still condition.
You can still have formal work.
You just can't do the actual football.
So I mean, the 4th of July. I mean, that's just. I understand it. And I think that's good. I mean, it's far enough removed.
But you can't if you start kids in June. Well, you're working with them all spring as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then you get them when school gets out, and you're banging. Like you're going, you know, like we used to go 5 days a week at EV. We only do 4 at East Lansing, but whatever.
In the summer.
Right. So then you just cut them loose for 9 days, or in our case 10. Then you can encourage them. Hey man.
Do you see a difference when they get back?
You see the ones that done something, and the ones that don't, because
it shows up just in that short window of time. Absolutely. It shows up.
9 days is a long time, but if you're not doing anything,
okay,
and that's why you say, man, look, you got to do something.
So so the parents keep your kids doing
whether it's like I said, we don't have to go to the all those special trainers. The track's open, the sidewalk's open, the backyard's open. Get out there,
no cover charge to get in those places.
None. All free.
Yeah.
All free. And not to mention nowadays, like through East Lansing, they had the summer for free at Planet Fitness. You could go use it.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And then there's another one, my friend Orange Therapy or something like that. They offer free to Lansing kids. So there's
Very
places
cool.
they can go. Do you take the opportunity and take advantage of it? But you cannot take that. Anyway, so we moved past that. Now we back grinding. So we started working again last week. Yeah, we see you haven't done anything for 9 days. So now we have to it's kind of like taking the kids when they go to see grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
You get them back.
Ooh.
Then you got to recondition them.
Great analogy.
You got to recondition them because they went down there and got
They've
spoiled.
got a little carte blanche.
Whatever you want. Ice cream,
Yeah.
suckers, sodas. No, we don't do that.
Yeah.
So now you're getting them, and now you got to work. So now, like I said, 3 weeks out. Hey man, there are no more days to be taking off.
Yeah.
You got it because everybody else is working. And if you are not pushing, not saying make, they got to want to go. Like my daughter, she took Thursday and Friday off. Whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to beg you to do anything. I'm getting up. I asked you, told you to get up. Let's go get it in. I'm going to get it in. I have no choice. If I don't, be bound to bound. I have to go get this working. Let's go. Well, she, her sister, they'll go to Planet Fitness or whatever. I'm like, nah, but I need to see it in my head. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
And if I don't see them out there,
I see you out there in the track, bro.
I gotta get it in. So at this point, like 3 weeks out, whether it's soccer, boys, tennis, boys, football, swimming,
No matter what the sport.
if you haven't been putting the work in, everybody that has
Reap what you sow.
You're gonna be down here,
right?
And you're gonna be fighting. Then it's gonna be, well, how come? Well, because, I'll tell you this much. I had a young man play for me at Eastern named Mike Salazar. Not the greatest athlete by any stretch of the imagination. Hard-nosed, tough East Side kid. Whatever I need him to do, he did it. He was there. He put the work in. Fundraising, weightlifting. You know what I'm saying? So, what as a coach, what does that tell me? It tells me I can count on him. So when you going to play football games, you got to go with people you can count on. If you know that, you know, Tommy Styles, the Justin Eljaris, you know, those kids are put the Gus last name, but them kids, they don't miss, and if they miss, they're at work. And I know they're getting it in, you know what I'm saying? You got to, I ain't going to say war because it's not war, it's just a battle. Can you trust them?
Yeah. Can
you count on them to be there? Yeah, Mike Simon ended up going to Albion, play football. Yeah. And doing great right now. But, you know, there was other kids who were probably better athletes than him or whatever. Like,
those are the ones you love talking about.
I don't care. They're like, well, and my coach was like, you know, I'm like, hey man, that's the kid that started. Yeah. Y'all figure it out, but he's gonna start.
Yeah.
Until he proves that he can't do it. Then I'll have to, you know, then I gotta do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's so hard to get these kids to understand that until it's too late. If you're not putting the time in,
it's hard to cram for that exam.
You cannot do it. Yeah. You just can't. And then you're going to spend the next 2 weeks of two-a-days trying to
you're gonna be sore. You're going to be dying. Then you're going to be
a step behind.
Dispirited because you're not going to be relevant on the 2Ds, most likely.
And then, you know, then let me find you a mirror. Yeah. Because
you need to look at it.
That's the person who you need to blame.
The parents will come in and say, "How come my kid's not?"
All of that. Like,
I didn't mean to strike a chord with you, but I think I did.
But that's real life, though.
That's true. No matter what, just in the working profession, everything that you do. He's Coach Kerry Keyton. I'm Tom Crawford. Coach Keyton Crawford here on the Crawford Podcasting Network. I want to recommend and advise and ask all of you to go out to Tom's Take Community on our YouTube channel, also on our Facebook page. Like us, follow us, and you can get all our content. We'll be here every Sunday for the next, until next 4th of July, so we won't miss a beat. Yeah, we talk football, we talk sports.
The Big 12's already
talk about leadership. Days. Big 10 Media Days. We'll be heading down to Indy about 9-10 days. Looking forward to that. We'll be here next Sunday. If you want to come out 9 o'clock here in the corner of Hagedorn and Grand River. For Kerry Keyton, Tom Crawford. Till next week.
Go green.
Go blue.